welcome back to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. With me this week, you know him as the Whiskey Mutant, but you might also know him as the man, the myth, and the legend. It's Eric Smith.
It is I, your dirty, filthy, sexy co-host.
Okay.
Legendary, mythical, me.
Legendary Mythical Me is another really good album title.
I'm just pulling them out tonight. I'm pulling it out.
I love that, man. I love it.
Pull it right out.
Oh, that was going to be my worst segue ever, but I'm still going to say it.
If you want to pull it out, go over to patreon.com where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month.
What I was going to say is if you're pulling out this podcast for the first time to listen to it, thank you so much for being here. You can subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review. We'll read out all of the reviews that we get here on the podcast. Unless you don't want us to review it, you can go watch the video version of this on YouTube. It's youtube.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast. You can check all of our apparel and merchandise out at bourbonshop.threadless.com. Oh my. I got a little choked up.
A little sad. A little emotional here.
You can follow us on social media at My Bourbon Pod, at Whiskey Mutant. And my voice is going to do a weird thing. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/My Bourbon Podcast for as little as $1 a month, for as little as $5 a month. Whole bunch of bonus content. Weekly bonus content. You get new stuff every single week. And you know what? If you haven't yet told your friends about this podcast, what the heck are you doing?
What you doing there?
Tell somebody about it.
Tell them. Tell your neighbor right now.
They don't like listening to podcasts? They can watch the podcast. They don't like watching the a podcast? They can listen to the podcast.
They don't know what a podcast is? Tell them it's like a radio show. Tell them about it.
I wanted to point too. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Around the camera. Tell them about it. Go on now. We'll be right here. Go on. Tell them. Okay, you did. I saw you. Come here, boy.
No, I was giving him a little tickle under the chin. Yeah. Hey, we normally start. What?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's best for us to move on. We normally start an episode out with Flying Blind, but this week we're switching it up. We're doing Sips and Snacks.
We are doing Sips and Snacks.
And this one was provided to us by the Whiskey Mutant himself. Eric, you have provided me with half a donut and 1 ounce of whiskey. So,
well, that's all the donut that was left, other than my little bite I got here because they were going fast at my house.
Fair enough. Thank you for fighting off the vultures so I could have one.
When pumpkin patch apple orchard season comes around, the hottest commodity in the Smith house is the apple cider donut. And boy, do they go fast. So I had to hide this one. So you've got you an apple cider donut and you got you a little whiskey there. We're gonna pair it up.
I've already done the pour over.
I mean, you're already there. You've done it. Tell us what you think, Perry.
Chocolate, nougat. Oh man, dark chocolate. Actually, there's like a little bit of bitterness that comes in there too. That I really, really like. I haven't even tried the whiskey on its own.
Yeah, try that too. Try it all. We do it all here.
Ooh, that's good. It's real nice.
That's good.
I want to say this is a rye whiskey.
I want to say point for you. Oh, that's good. I wish I had more, but I don't.
That's about all I got going for me. It's just feeling like it's a rye.
It's a rye? You like the pairing?
I love the pairing. It spices it up in a way that the donut on its own can't do.
Yeah. Well, this is. I normally don't do this. I usually.
I got to give you part 2 though.
Oh, part 2. Go.
Well, I don't normally. Never mind.
What do you not normally do?
Is that R. Kelly, or is that Nelly?
Part 2. This is my confession. No, is that?
No, that's Usher.
Part 2
That's
the
not
remix.
what I'm talking about. Remix to Ignition.
That's R. Kelly.
I hate myself now.
It's a remix to Ignition. Hot and fresh off
fresh
the
out the
kitchen.
kitchen.
Rolling
Mama
more in
rolling
that
that
body.
body.
Come
Got
on,
every man in
everybody
here
wishing. Sipping on coconut rum. I'm like, so
what? I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby. I'm about to have me some fun.
Okay, we're stop.
It's R. Kelly. We can't keep singing R. Kelly songs.
I was gonna say we gotta stop. So I paired this on my Instagram, but I had a different snack with it.
Okay.
This is a rare character pick from Rare Bird.
Oh, it's so good, man.
6 years, 4 months, straight Kentucky rye whiskey, and that's it right there. Focus. There you go. I paired it with a pumpkin-filled donut, and I tried to save that, but it was too many days in between when we would see each other.
That's
The feeling was not. I didn't feel safe having you eat that, so I tried it with a little bit of donut of the apple cider kind, and I liked it a lot. And then, like you said, it's like an apple cider donut, but then it added like vanilla and chocolate to it with a little bit of like ginger spice on top of it. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really good.
We also had to delay recording by a day. So this is another episode that you're getting almost in real time with very up-to-date news.
Right now, baby.
Yeah. So this is Monday night that we're recording and Wednesday morning that you're hearing this.
So
unless you're listening to it
unless it's like 2 weeks from now. Then you're late, you bastard.
Where you been?
Where you been?
Your mother and I have been worried sick about you.
Oh, me and your mother. We haven't been worried about you, boy. What? My mother? Your mother? Me and your mother?
Eric, what have you been drinking recently?
Well, a little bit of this. Rare Bird's Kentucky Rye. I guess this is Bardstown Bourbon Company. I think.
I would assume so, but I could be wrong.
It's 95.5. I don't know any other Kentucky people doing 95.5.
America. Will it, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. Somewhere. But I have that. I sent you a little sample of an ADHD whiskey pick. I drank on that a little bit. It's a Starlight bourbon whiskey finished in, oh Lord, I'm going to fuck this up. Pinot des Charentes.
Pinot des Charentes. I think you were very close with it.
Okay. But look at the color on this thing. Like it's dark
ridiculous.
as hell.
It's incredible, man.
Really
I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to get into it here in a minute as we're going through our news too.
So I got that, and then I had a little hard cider at the apple orchard, the pumpkin picking.
Yeah.
From one of the local hard cider places. They have a little kind of off bar at the apple orchard, and it was really good. It's really good.
Wise Acre?
Wise Owl.
Maybe
There's
it is
an owl
Wise
on
Owl.
it.
Yeah, Wise Owl cider.
Wise Owl cider.
You can go
Really
check out
good.
their brick and mortar location at the Distillery District here in Lexington. If you ever nearby, let us know. We'd love to come and hang out with you. Goodfellas is over there. They have one of the best bourbon single barrel selection teams in the game. Incredible.
So good.
It's New York style pizza. Just everything about that area.
Get you some crank and boom ice cream.
Early tips and bits. Come to Lexington and go to visit the Distillery District. That's where James E. Pepper is as well.
Yep.
Just incredible
axe throwing
space. There is axe throwing over there.
If
you come on the weekend as well, there is a music venue that is right across the street that you can go. I mean, and they usually have really, really good bands that come through as well. During COVID, they were doing outdoor concerts, which was a lot of fun. That was so much fun. We'd go and like bring a bucket of chicken too, and they would have like movies every now and then. So
it's cool.
Fun stuff.
Come hang out at the LEX 859. Where we at?
The 405.
405. What's the 405?
40, like our area or zip code, man.
Oh.
Like the beginning of it.
The beginning of it. Like the 859.
Well, that's our area code.
Got hoes there. Different ones.
Well, I've been drinking a few different things. I went down to Gatlinburg this weekend because my wife's family has an annual trip, and it just so happened to fall this year on Eden's second birthday. So I went down on Friday and I drove back up on Saturday because I had a tour on Sunday. But that didn't stop me from making a couple little detours and bringing some stuff along the way with me. Ooh. And that included, and you'll see this on my Instagram at this point, Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered, Turkey 101, which as I was buying that bottle, I realized I hadn't bought a bottle of it in way too long, probably about a month and a half or two at this point, which that if you know anything about me, you know that that bottle does not last very long around here.
I can take no more. I keep on coming back to you.
Hey, yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. Yeah. I also brought Benchmark Full Proof along with me, just something a little bit higher proof so I could go to sleep a little bit easier. But I also grabbed a bottle in the middle of friggin' nowhere, Tennessee, that I gave you a sample of.
I have it right here.
If you wanted to pour it up.
I'm going to.
It's a Knob Creek pick.
Baby.
From an off-the-beaten-path liquor store in Tennessee. It's called Maples.
That would be a good name for the liquor store. Off the beaten path.
Oh, that'd be a great name for it. Yeah.
Or
but no,
a bar.
It's called Maples. Barreled on January 17th, 2012, and selected on November 4th, 2021. But for a little store that has virtually no reputation, let me say they can pick a heck of a barrel. That
smells like Reese cup and pretzels. Chocolate and pretzels?
Yeah, I get a lot of cocoa on this. Or cacao.
Cacao?
Cacao.
Cacao.
Porto.
Oh, God. No.
Not yet.
Oh, my God. That tastes like it's 95 proof. Oh, shit. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would never think that's a Knob Creek pick. At least not 120 proof single barrel.
So I didn't crack it open when I was in Gatlinburg. I opened it when I got home on Saturday night. And it just... I was not ready for it. Like, I fully expected it to be just...
That's nice.
Bland and, a very thin palate, but I am very, very impressed with this single barrel. So if you're ever in Tennessee and you happen across Maples Liquor Store, they've got cases left of this Knob Creek single barrel.
Did they have anything else? Any other picks?
I cannot remember off the top of my head. I would assume so, though.
Did they try to say this, or did you just get it on your own?
No, I just grabbed it. I just grabbed it. I passed up, and it was mostly like what I could afford at the time, too, thing. But I passed up Knob Creek 18 in favor of this. They had a Blanton's. They had, just a bunch of, allocated things that I was more interested in seeing what this because this is so much more fun to me than having a bottle that basically anybody can get. And in this case, I mean, how many people do I know that are going to come across this liquor store, right? So it just made more sense. And it was $50 a bottle.
They done it right.
I walked out of that store with a bottle that cost me less than $55. That normally anywhere else would have been about $70.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at it and I said, there's no way that I can leave without getting a bottle of this. And I mean, if I had been able to, I would have dropped back by and gotten another one.
And by God, you walked right out with it.
And I'm gonna see if they can ship
I'm gonna go buy another case.
I just might. I don't think I'm gonna make that drive again. The drive was exhausting. But because I was in Gatlinburg too, I did a moonshine tasting.
Oh yeah, baby!
At the Sugarlands distillery.
Sugarlands.
And I actually tried their Roaming Man rye for the first time. And I had 3 different versions of it. One was unaged rye. It was at 100 proof. One was a 4-year-old rye. I think it was like 4.5-year-old at 100 proof. And then the third one was their newest release, which was 108 proof, and it was about 5.5 years old. And I was blown away. I was blown away by a moonshine company out of Gatlinburg and the rye whiskey that they were putting out. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think you can only get it there or at, one of their locations. And it's $50 for a 375. I know that sounds like a lot, but we also paid that for, the wild turkey. What were they called?
Saffle.
Yeah, the saffle and the I can't even remember the name of it.
I know which one you're talking about. I don't remember. I never get that other one.
Old Rippy. Old Rippy was in there.
And then there's one more.
It started with a B.
Ever been to Old Forge in Pigeon Forge?
I have not.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They have some good cocktails and stuff. They'd make their own whiskey there.
Bond and Lillard.
There
we go.
Bondage and Lillard. Yes.
Well, batch 2 of Bond and Lillard was really, really good. That first one was not great. I've got some left, I'm pretty sure.
I think I tried the first one and never got any more, so I just kept getting
the first one wasn't great. I mean, of course, Saffle is the best one out of those 3.
Yeah, for sure.
But on its own, the batch 2 of Bond and Lillard was great. I don't think I've ever had Old Rippy, though. And if I have, it's been a really, really long time.
I had a Pappy 10. Old Rippy.
Yeah, I know.
Old Rippy Van Winkle. Pappy 10.
Yeah. I know, man. I know. Anyway, but while I was there, I also tried this liqueur, which actually pulled up as our first bit of news.
You got to try that?
I got to try this while I was there. It was made at the Sugarlands distillery. The Lego My Ego Nog.
I want that
liqueur. It's really good, man.
I want it right now.
It's
Where's the sample of it?
Well, it was in my little communion cup. Can't wait to edit that out. Or amplify it.
I want the Egos.
But it's a 40 proof liqueur. It's very maple syrupy, but I'm telling you, man, for what sounds like a gimmick, it was really, really good.
Is this going to be available anywhere else?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they can ship.
I want it now.
We'll go 50 miles within my zip code.
I'll drive 50 miles for Eggos in liqueur form.
Sorry, no locations found.
Damn it. Oh, that should be a new thing in our rating system.
I'd drive 50 miles
Would
for
you
it.
drive 50 miles or more for this?
I feel like you should be able to buy this and get it shipped to you. I feel like... Look, we got friends down that way.
Beverage
We can...
Warehouse.
Where's that?
You order it online?
If we can't do that, I'm sure that we have somebody nearby that can send us a couple bottles. Or mason jars, however you want to slice it.
I feel like it'd make me feel some sort of way.
Oh, it'll make you feel some sort of way.
Oh my God, you're making me want it even more.
We'll do an episode around it if we have to.
We should do a whole, like, gimmicked out liqueur.
Oh,
episode.
100%. Gimmicked out bourbon in general.
Yeah, let's
Or
do it.
whiskey or whatever you want to call it. But they've got a recipe as well for their Eggo Nog Caramel Brulee Latte.
That's what I'm talking about. That picture right there on that. Oh my God. They got a little Eggos on the side of the glass.
Yeah. It does need bourbon, though. I'll say
Oh,
that.
I mean, we'd add that to it. Oh, yeah. A little maple bourbon.
Heck yeah.
Maple finish Nulu that we picked.
Yeah.
Can't get any more sold out. Motherfuckers.
I want to move on to this next one.
Let's move it. I like to move it.
I'm a little unsure how I feel about this. Dr. Pepper has released a new bourbon-flavored non-alcoholic drink.
See, that's when you first sent this to me, I was excited because
Fansville Reserve, sorry.
I thought it was going to be like ready to drink, like Dr. Pepper and bourbon drink. And then I saw the non-alcoholic and I was like, what the fuck?
It's available exclusively through a sweepstake via the Pepper Perks program. What do you have to pay to be a part of the Pepper Perks program?
Scan your receipts, upload them, get points, score the perks fans deserve. It's basically for somebody who drinks a lot of fucking Dr. Pepper.
I'm signing up right now. I want to know how hard it would be for us to get our hands.
It says you don't need any points to sign up for the bourbon flavored. If you want to enter for a chance to win $10,000, you got to have 10 points.
That's it?
Yeah.
How many points do you earn with every Dr. Pepper that you buy, though? Like 0.05?
I don't know. I don't even like Dr. Pepper that much.
I don't either.
This is like Pepsi points.
Is it?
There's one you can get like sunglasses and stuff like that.
Well, they're owned by the same company, aren't they?
I tried to get a bomber jacket that time. And I sent all the points in. Like I cut them all. That's when you had to cut them off of the labels. And I never got anything. I'm still mad about that.
You do have to buy and earn points in order to get the Fansville Reserve.
I'm mad about that Pepsi point thing, man. They did that stupid commercial where they're like, you can win a jet, and that guy really did it, and he never got one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He really got all the points to get a jet.
Yeah.
And I was just happy to try to get a jacket. I didn't even get that. So mad.
Yeah. So I guess we have to buy Dr. Pepper if we want to.
I want to get that.
Try
I want
this.
to compare it with and without bourbon and see how much better it is with bourbon.
If you're a Dr. Pepper fan,
If you're a Dr. Pepper fan, get those points in.
get
Send the
them.
boys some reserve.
And if you win and you don't want it, or if you get multis and you're feeling good, nice,
Yeah.
send us some.
Send it. Full send. Ooh,
We finally got the release of the Arby smoked bourbon. Billed
I
as a
love-
chain. Go
I
ahead.
love the picture on this. Look at the smoke coming out of the rocks glass.
Horrible.
Shoot, pull that up. Put that on the screen.
I'm definitely putting that on screen right now. It's bad. It's bad looking. So they're saying that it's billed as a chance for Arby's to bring its smoked meat expertise to bourbon, which is, of course, something that we have all been dying for. This limited edition whiskey is smoked with the same real woods, hickory, mesquite, and pecan used to smoke Arby's meats from Sadler's Smokehouse in Texas, creating Arby's signature flavor. Specifically, the chain says its Arby's smoked bourbon takes inspiration from their 13-hour smoked brisket sandwich and their limited time only 8-hour smoked pork country-style rib sandwich. It's a 90 proof bourbon.
I mean,
I haven't even seen. Is it straight bourbon or is it just bourbon?
It's smoked bourbon, actually.
Honestly, actually, you answered my question with that response. Arby's smoked bourbon is only available to residents of California, Colorado, Florida, Kentucky, New Hampshire, New York, and Washington, D.C.
We made it. Screw you, Tennessee.
$60 a bottle.
Ooh.
Oh, it's you. Look, okay. If you are listening to this right now on the day that it comes out at noon, you have the opportunity to buy it. Noon Eastern time.
This Wednesday?
The day that this episode comes out. If you're listening to this in real time, you
Oh, it's got a website?
you could buy one. I'm gonna try. I am gonna try to buy a bottle of this.
How many?
And who's gonna stop me?
Not me. I want some. How many Arby's regular sized roast beef sandwich could you crush?
Like just the regular
roast beef sandwich.
with or without
double.
cheese?
No cheese. Just straight up. Cheese makes it a little heavier. I'm just saying straight up.
Probably 5.
Oh my God. I could crush like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Arby sauce?
Oh, 100%.
Love Arby. Arby
Has
sauce.
to have Arby sauce.
Arby sauce is where it's at. I don't care what Arby's does. They could go away. Just give me Arby sauce. Arby sauce is delicious.
I have been wanting to try their. Maybe if we wind up getting one of these, we can pair it with the real country style rib sandwich.
I'm down. They have some questionable stuff, not the greatest, but I will stand by their roast beef sandwich.
Yeah,
I like it. Especially, I could crush like 5 of them.
we're moving around a little bit here, but Maker's Mark,
Crushing. Speaking
they're
of crushing,
crushing it for environmental benefits in unique glass upcycling initiatives. So basically, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be taking old bottles and upcycling them into newer bottles and just trying to reduce their carbon footprint, to create new bottles.
what if they
Which is
did
really
that?
cool.
What if they did that as part of their tour? And they're like, instead of dipping your own bottle, you got to crush your own bottle.
Bring us your empty Maker's Mark bottle, and we will use it to create a new Maker's Mark bottle.
Yeah, and you get to crush it.
future.
They have a really bad accident with that. They have to shut the whole program down.
Yeah, like 8 people lose eyes.
Yeah, the glass just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
We didn't think this would happen. It was supposed to be a good thing.
It looks.
Paint.
Yeah, this was definitely a Pete Samuels idea. It looks like actually all of this is going to be taking place in Kentucky at different Kroger Wine and Spirits. Louisville, Shelbyville, Lexington, Georgetown, and Versailles. Oh, and a liquor barn, 2 liquor barns, one in Louisville and one in Lexington. So if you are nearby and you don't know what to do with your Maker's Mark bottles.
What if you bring a bunch of other bottles and they're like, we're not crushing them?
I got those Blantons.
Or if it turns into it where Maker's Mark people are just crushing other people's bottles. They're like,
Yeah.
Look at this shit.
Jefferson's Ocean. Oh, boy. There's a new Aged at Sea New York edition.
Aged at New York Sea?
Like New Yorkers themselves, the city's water has a magical quality about it. Inspired by legendary foods that are made tastier because of New York water, world-famous bagels, pizza, and donuts I thought it would be interesting to experiment with it and see what effect it would have on this Kentucky-born product, says Trey Zoller from Jefferson's.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that this wouldn't be good. I think that this is just, continuing with the idea of the gimmick.
Yes.
This is up there.
I mean, come on.
98 proof, $99 a bottle.
Jesus Christ.
So be on the lookout for that. Yeah. Here's something that we have to be on the lookout for that you and I were not anticipating at all until this label came across the TTV, and I wanted to save it for its own little segment, its own little time outside of our TTV label discussion. Somehow we have already gotten the new label for the next Wild Turkey Master's Keep release.
Oh, have we?
Rum finished. Finished in Jamaican rum casks. It's going to be called Voyage. 10 years, 106 proof. You and I were talking about this a little bit earlier in the day. Do you think that this is an indication that we are going to see multiple Master's Keep releases per year, or is this them getting ahead of the game and trying to put out, or at least get the label approved beforehand? Because, I mean, we are just coming off of the Unforgotten being not just announced, but released, at least in, some markets.
I don't know. I want to think that it's just going to still be the same, and maybe this is just an them getting, like you said, early start on it, because I like Master's Keep being a once-a-year thing. I feel like if it's not, Master's Keep is not going to be as special as I normally think of it if we get more than one. And I'm already a little nervous about this one, because this just seems like, I don't know, like a rum finished. I'm not the biggest rum finished fan. I'm just nervous that it's not going to make me as happy as the other ones. I'm just nervous about it. I'm nervous.
I understand. I get it.
Nervous.
I'm not as nervous as you are, but I still want to know. I mean, I think that what we keep kind of running into with Wild Turkey is the excitement of us all kind of going, ooh, what if?
Yeah.
Like, what if they did this? What if they finished it in that? What if it was at, 125 proof or things like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that for a lot of us, myself included, this scratches an itch that we definitely have. Just having to know what this could possibly look like.
Right.
And I think for me, at the very least, where this kind of discrepancy is going to start becoming more obvious is what it costs. Like, once we actually find out how much it is.
I'm assuming it's going to be the same, right? Probably 200.
Well, but what is the same anymore with Master's Keep?
I always expected 175 to 200. I feel like that's what it's been the past little bit.
But it's increased in price.
Oh, so
right.
You're saying,
over the past
what if it's
couple
like
of years.
250 or something like that?
Or what if it's cheaper than Unforgotten? It's just it's a lot of speculation right now. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait to find out what this is going to be like.
I'm excited and nervous.
I totally get it.
I'm more nervous that if we start seeing it more often and it becomes something they're pushing out even more, which is not necessarily a bad thing if it's always good, but you just don't want to see it turn into like something that you're like, well, it's not like the Master's Keep that we used to have. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of the few things that each year that It seems to be always good.
I don't know if I share that sentiment because Master's Keep has changed every year.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they make more of it.
Oh, sorry, I missed that point.
If they're if they're not like taking that full year to like think of something like new and different, like are we just going to see kind of like something like recycled again, like because we got to put out 2 a year or something like that?
I don't think so. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that we're going to see one of two things happen from Wild Turkey. We're either going to see them catch up to everybody, which I think they are trying very hard to do right now in terms of trying what other people have done innovatively and seeing what happens with Wild Turkey products. Whether it's finishing or doing a boo rye or, things like that. Wild Turkey has always been just a little bit behind other distilleries. So I think that this is just another way of them proving that they have their head in the game, but maybe not at the same pace that everybody else does. I see this as a win. I'm looking forward to seeing what this is. I don't think that this is going to wind up being a multi-release per year thing. I'd be really, really surprised if it did, honestly. That being said, Wild Turkey has been able to up production over the past couple of years, so it's possible that they could be hedging their bets a little bit and doing some experiments. I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer for this.
I just hope I like it. That's all I want. I just want to like it.
I understand.
I want to like it.
I want to like it, and I don't want it to be really expensive.
It's going to be about $200.
Probably.
At least.
We are continuing to see as well support not only for flood relief in Kentucky. This is the July flooding that happened this year, but also for the horrible hurricane that passed through Florida. I mean, really up through the Atlantic coast just last month, Hurricane Ian. And one of those ways we are seeing is the Copperworks Kentucky Flood Relief and Copperworks Hurricane Ian Relief. This is an American single malt whiskey from Washington State, non-age stated, 98 proof, $90 a bottle, 255 bottles at the Copperworks Distillery and Tasting Room and at Copperworks distilling.com.
I think it's awesome that this is a Washington distillery and they're doing something to help other states. That's pretty awesome.
That was my first thought as well. That it's nice to see help coming from all across the land, I guess. Yep. But I do think that this is a good reminder as well. Despite the fact that there is a new crisis to recover from in the form of Hurricane Ian, the recovery from the Kentucky flooding a couple months ago, that is not over.
No, it's still ongoing.
It's still going on.
Gregory has to drive 30 minutes just to get her mail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Does she have like the road up to her house?
Yeah,
now?
She can get to the house and everything like that. Okay. But there's been so many things destroyed that still like the mail is 30 minutes away. I
mean, there are still people who are being added to the death toll.
Yeah, they're still finding
as
people.
Well.
Yeah,
so it's an ongoing thing, and there was the Kentucky Rising concert as well last week with Chris Stapleton, Dwight Yoakam, and Tyler Childers, and I mean they raised a couple $1 million, something like that, and good stuff. Good stuff. Good to see people helping out, for sure. We're going to talk about a couple of TTB labels before we get to our interview for this episode and the review. A new label from Few Spirits, Serial Killer, Straight Rye. But cereal spelled. I was wondering when your one spooky was going to hit, so you didn't wake everybody up. But cereal spelled like the breakfast item.
Dude, that label's badass.
I love the label. Guy with a sickle, little bowler hat. 93 proof. And not seeing an age statement on it as of yet. But I really do like that label.
Sweet.
Whistle Pig Farm Stock Rye, bottled in bond. Okay. I'm not sure how it can be called bottled in bond because on the back label it lists 4 different ages that go into this, but all of them, I mean, they're all over 4 years, but
Is this like the Jack Daniels, the triple mash? How it's bottled in bond?
no, because those maybe, man, I don't know, but also like 2 of the whiskeys were made in America and one of them was made in Canada.
Are they all separate bottled in bonds and then you just put them together?
I don't know. I don't think you can call a Canadian whiskey bottled in bond.
No, it's not bottled in bond. It's bottled in barn.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Oh, got them. They got us. Rats off to you, Whistle
Well
Pig.
done.
You got us.
Whistle Pig. This is for you.
Oh.
86 proof. Yeah,
Shit.
of course it's not bottled in bond.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just
good.
an idiot.
That's good stuff. That's funny. Okay.
Kind of new. Kind of dead guy whiskey.
Oh.
Rogue single barrel project. Cherry cask finished. It's an American single malt. Total age 8 years, 6 months, 5 days. Finished in cherry wood.
Bottled in death.
Bottled
Death
in,
has no age.
bottled and shoot myself right in the foot. Like a friggin' idiot.
All right, Matt. Friggin' idiot. Friggin' idiot. Oh my God, I'm crying.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm crying.
Well, I'm glad we had one big slip up this week. All right, I am very excited to be able to welcome to the podcast new friend and creator of one of my new favorite products that I have been very fortunate to try, but it was only by your all's grace and reaching out to us that we were able to procure a bottle. But this is Robbie Haynes of the Gold Fashioned. And Robbie, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to it.
So wow, golly, all right. Super professional here, apparently. But I want to start off just by talking about, before we even get into what goes on behind the scenes of creating this product, but just immediately the presentation of this bottle and this almost like Art Deco kind of medallion that you guys have incorporated into it. I mean, it's so eye-catching. Everything about this bottle, including the box that it comes into, really does stand out. Who was your lead design, your head of design behind the creation of this packaging?
It takes an army. We worked with a really brilliant cardboard engineer out of New Zealand called Matt Bogust from Think Packaging. He really helped us with the box, we were trying to create like the most considered, thoughtful packaging experience for folks. Something that was, just as special as what was in the bottle. And then we worked with a couple of great designers out of Chicago called Mighty Few, Adam and Ian, and they really did a fantastic job of kind of elevating the graphic identity of the brand to match the product as well. So can't take a lot of credit for it. Just fortunate to have the opportunity to work with really talented people.
Being a graphic designer myself, I always try to find, the way to at least identify and celebrate those folks who, have created the packaging for it. So shout out to your team. I'm putting it off, even though I really want to get into it. But I do want to talk about the inception behind the Gold Fashioned and where this project kind of started conceptually for you and your team.
Yeah. So pre Sunday's Finest. Well, let me go back. Pre Sunday's Finest. I started out in the hospitality world at a great bar in Chicago called the Violet Hour. Which, is known for making, world-class cocktails and delivering a like really high quality, special consumer, experience for folks that come in. So I come from that world behind the bar. After putting in, a good number of years there, transitioned into the production side. And launched with a friend of mine, Jordan Tepper. We launched Apolog Liqueurs, an all-natural liqueur company focused on bringing kind of unique regional ingredients to bartenders that they could use to make elevated riffs on classic cocktails. And we were really big on transparency, listing all the ingredients, really open about our production process, things like that. Our sourcing is really important. And for a few years, life was great. We were focused on-premise bars and restaurants, and really just giving folks tools to use to get, creative. And then 2020 happened, and the on-premise business slowed down overnight, and we had a little bit of time to kind of rethink, come up with some new ideas, and we saw, I think, some opportunity in the ready to enjoy space, and thought it would be an interesting exercise to tease out what it would look like if you set out with a really simple North Star to make the absolute best ready to enjoy cocktail possible that folks could, bring into their home and enjoy with their friends or families, and that was kind of the impetus for the Gold Fashioned. We knew we wanted to do something spirit forward. And I've always loved the Old Fashioned. It's kind of, the people call it the first cocktail. But it's also it allows for a little bit of creativity in the individual components, the spirits blend and then the bitters. And we thought that would be a good cocktail to explore. And we set off down the path to create the world's first quote unquote, like luxury ready to enjoy cocktail.
I think that you definitely hit the nail on the head with it, your journey towards this, with the end of the final product, as it were. And I don't want to spend too much longer not sipping on it, because it is sitting in front of the both of us, and it's been a couple weeks since I've had any of it. And I was saying too before we started recording that everybody that's had it so far that I've shared it with, they have truly enjoyed it. And it just goes to show that too. I mean, as important as, you know, the whiskey that goes into it is, as far as an old fashioned is concerned, the craft behind, you know, the bitters and making sure that every ingredient is top notch, top tier. It really does matter. And so you guys had a very interesting selection of bitters and different ingredients that popped into the making of this bottle.
Yeah. You know, the bitters. So I felt like the bitters were the opportunity to give the cocktail like some unique personality and character. And we, again, you know, kind of focused on sourcing just the best inputs for this cocktail possible. We said, well, what if we try to source the world's most exquisite spices from the 6 inhabitable continents, which at first we were like, that's crazy. But, you know, we started reaching out to some folks, putting some feelers out there, and we're able to, you know, find some really great saffron from Herat, Afghanistan. There's another Chicago-based B corporation called Rumi Spice that's, you know, vertically integrated. So we were really confident that everything was going to be ethical and thoughtfully sourced. We worked with a gentleman named Rod Marcus at Rare Tea Cellar in Chicago. He's a fine spice purveyor, and he hooked us up with, you know, some grade A Tahitian vanilla beans that were, you know, 12 inches long and as fat as your finger. Some single origin Ecuadorian cacao, Seville orange peel from actual Seville, Spain. And then we got French gentian from the French Alps. So we went all out to kind of create, you know, these really beautiful bitters. And, you know, with a cocktail this simple, every single ingredient has to be like awesome, because there's nowhere to hide. There's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
And that goes, you know, that has to, we knew the bitters needed to be special, and we knew the vintage whiskey blend had to be like also killer on its own. And so we spent a lot of time like dialing in the individual pieces of the cocktail before we could even get around to making the drink.
Right. And we'll get to the actual whiskeys that went into it in just a moment. But as you said, this is a ready to pour cocktail. Everything is mixed up and prepared for the consumer right in the bottle, except for one step, and that's the orange spritz, which absolutely is the perfect complement to everything else that's happening in this bottle.
Yeah. Firm believer that like any great culinary experience, especially a cocktail, you know, for it to be truly special, you have to engage all the senses. And a lot of the ready to drink or ready to enjoy cocktails on the market, some of them are very cool and some of them are very fun, but we didn't see anything that really engaged folks' olfactory response, you know, nothing with aroma.
Right.
And we wanted this to be as good, if not better, than the best old fashioned you would get at your local, you know, craft cocktail bar. And we were sitting around a table, and, you know, someone said, is this it? And it's like, no, like it's not it until we can like figure out how to engage that sensory experience. And someone, one of our partners, Adam, said kind of half jokingly, like, what if we find a way to incorporate orange zest into some sort of atomizer? And I think we kind of laughed and then stopped and we're like, oh, what if?
Yeah, exactly. That might be it.
And we tapped, there's a company out of Burlington, Vermont called Alice and the Magician that specializes in aromatic zests. And we reached out to them, and they crafted this like beautiful orange zest out of blood orange and navel oranges that really just takes the experience over the top. It gives people something fun to engage with, and lets them be a part of the process.
And it does give you that feeling of like, I mean, despite the fact that, you know, you are already drinking an elevated product, you are getting that chance to add your own little touch to it, for sure.
Yep.
So this is, correct me if I'm wrong, 15-year, 9-year, and 6-year-old whiskeys that went into this?
Yeah. So sourcing great whiskey is not easy. And we spent a lot of time looking for the initial blend, tasted dozens of barrels until we found something. Just, to do this and do it well, we needed something with some meaningful age on it. There are great younger whiskeys out there, but pound for pound, in an old fashioned, got to have something that's at least 5 years. And so when we launched last year, we were able to find some 8-year bourbon and 5-year rye. We took half of those barrels and set them aside and let them, go another year. They only got better. And then this year we were able to source some 15-year bourbon to fold in to the blend, and it added, the thing that only 15-year-old bourbon can do. It's like this kind of, I describe it as stately and distinguished. I don't know if those are proper tasting notes, but I feel like it comes through in the cocktail.
Was that something that you had kind of in the back of your mind, that you wanted to search out for some older product to maybe put into the next blend, or a blend down the road for another release?
Yeah, I think each year we're going to do a different spirits-based blend. And yeah, this year there's only 3,000 bottles. There's only so much 15-year bourbon. And so we have depleted our stock and are now already searching for a compelling whiskey that is interesting and has a story that we can use for next year's blend.
So I of course have to ask, being the bourbon nerd anyway.
Sure.
Are you able to reveal what whiskey actually went into the blend here?
I can tell you a few things.
Okay.
And all right, so the rye is MGP.
Okay.
No secret there. I think
Sure.
the rye is fantastic. And so source the 5-year, let it age an extra year. The bourbons, I cannot tell you what distillery they came from. I can tell you where that distillery is located, and that it is, we would be proud to feature the name of the distillery if we were able to. But the bourbons are coming from Bardstown, and we're really psyched to be working with them.
Yeah, we'll let people kind of make their own assumptions from there. But 15-year-old bourbon, there's only a few places that might actually have some of that, especially in Bardstown. But it just really does create this incredible blend that seems to, despite the fact that there are all of these really intricate ingredients that go into it, they are very well balanced by the actual base spirits that go into them. Were you intending to use I guess initially last year it was a double base for the spirits. Yeah. Double, that actually made me giggle a little bit, but now a triple base. But I mean, were you, did that happen kind of naturally, or were you kind of seeking that out in the creation process?
Two things. One, I love we call them like split base or mixed base cocktails.
Thank you. It was split base that I was looking for there.
There's some nice historical context, cocktails like a Vucare, which has a base of rye and cognac. that cocktail I've always found interesting because you really got like the best of both worlds with those spirits. And I had experimented with making old fashions with bourbon and rye before. Some people seem to prefer bourbon old fashioned. Some people like rye. To me, they're very different, but there's things that are compelling about both. Found like the bourbon tends to be a little smoother, a little more like baking spice, and then rye is a little more assertive and forward. But you mix them together, and it becomes like, I feel like, incredibly complex. So that had always kind of been on my mind when we launched last year's blend, and then was kind of fascinated by this concept for a little bit about like infinity whiskeys, where people are kind of continuing to blend vintages almost like a Solera system.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a cool concept, and we were kind of talking like, what can we do to make this year's blend special? And we're like, well, what if we find like, what if we add something that has like significant age to it? I think it'll bring some interesting character to the cocktail, bring some other notes out of the bitters, and we just said, okay, let's go for it. Let's see what we can find.
And I mean, like I've been saying, it just worked extremely well when everything was all said and done. We have to talk about the fact too that you all put all this work into it. This is not a product that was kind of haphazardly thrown together. So when you look at the presentation, you look at what actually the final product is that goes into the bottle and then goes into the glass, it does kind of warrant a semi-premium price tag. So it's $150 a bottle. But yeah. I think that $150 goes a really, really long way for people, because this is, I mean, if it's done right, if it's treated right, this is going to last people for a good long while.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting 10 to 12 cocktails a bottle. The packaging is lovely. It's very giftable. And it's also something that you can show up at, a Friendsgiving or a holiday dinner or small gathering and pop it on the table. And you got, a conversation piece and something that, is easy to host with, that will make for a memorable night. And, you can feel good about showing up with it.
I'd be happy if anybody showed up with a bottle of this, and I'm very thankful that you all sent us a bottle to review rather, for the show. So we're gonna have a review coming up just a little bit later on this episode, talking about it. What is the best way for people, Robbie, to get their hands on a bottle of the Gold Fashioned?
While we do work with some great retailers, the easiest and most efficient way for folks to get their hands on this cocktail is through our website, sundaysfinest.com. You can order a bottle and it will show up at your doorstep, which is amazing to think that we live in an age where that's possible, but it is. And so we're doing it.
I can't be mad about it. Robbie, thank you so much for sitting down with me, man. Everybody, get you a bottle of the Gold Fashioned. Worth every penny of it, I believe. But we'll put some links in the description for the episode as well, so people can check out more of your all stuff. But again, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Dude, thank you for having me. A pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Eric, I figured since I just got done talking with Robbie, we could spend some time reviewing the Gold Fashioned from Sunday's Finest.
I want to review it, yes.
I love this cocktail so much. And the fact that it came just ready to drink and all you had to do was spritz a little bit of orange on it.
Oh, yeah, dude. And it comes with the orange.
It comes with the orange zest, yes.
Oh, my God.
it's just so sweet.
It's
But it's
so
not sweet in like a rich way that overpowers any of the whiskey. It's just a well-balanced sweetness. And sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm still amazed by this because I had a little bit of it when you first got it, and coming back to it, it's just so good.
I talked about this with Robbie, but there's just such a depth of character and complexity to it that incorporating a split base of 3 different whiskeys into this, it's incomparable. I mean, there's literally no way that you could recreate this in the way that it has been made. And here's the thing. We talked about it, but it is $150 a bottle.
It is.
But Robbie brought up that is essentially 10 to 12 cocktails that you will be able to drink over the lifetime of this bottle.
Yeah.
I think with all of the research, all of the development, all of the shipping and receiving, and the time spent crafting this took, I think it's worth it. I mean, how often do you go to a bar or a restaurant and you get an old fashioned and it's more than $12?
It's
pretty
if
common.
a good one, it's pretty much $10 to $12. Before I came down to record, April was asking like what we were doing. I said we were reviewing that old fashioned that I brought home that Perry sent you a sample of. And she was going on about how much she liked it because that's her cocktail when we go out. Mm-hmm. She'll drink a lot of other stuff, but her main one is old fashions. And she said, and I told her how much it was, and she was like, well, that's not bad because when we go out, my old fashions cost at least $10. And I was like, yeah, you could just, you can get at least what? How many old fashions out of this thing, do they say? Or what would you say, 20? 15? 20? More, maybe? Depending on how much you pour?
Yeah, maybe like 20-ish.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's a great deal. And it's one of those things that I think was kind of born out of the ingenuity too, and Robbie talked about this a little bit, that it was developed during the pandemic, but that thought of like, well, I can't go out.
Yeah.
Or here's what I would be spending if I did go out. But like even still, this brings it to another level.
No.
I mean, am I wrong in saying that pre-bottled or not, this is the best old fashioned we've ever had?
One of the best old fashions I've ever had.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Definitely pre. I mean, there's hands down nothing I can think of that has been anything close to tasting this good. That's pre-made. Nothing.
No.
And I mean, I would have to really think about an old fashioned like in some like special something blah 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 that would be better than this. This tastes like an old fashioned, but you can taste the age in it. You can taste the oak. You
can taste the whiskey. And that is one of the biggest complaints that I have with an old fashioned made in a bar or a restaurant, that everything else overpowers the whiskey unless it is made with a higher age, higher proof product. Now, this is
42.2%.
Thank you. So 84.4 proof. So, I mean, this is exactly what I want from a bourbon cocktail, too. I want it to be spirit forward. I want it to be higher proof. And I want it to be accessible. I think that is really, I mean, despite the fact that I have this laundry list of things that I want from a particular bourbon cocktail, I don't think that this is inaccessible for people who don't drink bourbon or at least have little experience with it.
You know what this would be awesome for is when you said that, if you had this and you had a group of friends over that don't normally, like you say, drink bourbon, and you gave them this, and then you went into what is part of this cocktail or pre-made cocktail, and then you poured them a neat pour of something to be like, hey, listen, like, now try a little bit of this because you just love this, aged old fashioned. And that's the thing. That's what April said when she tasted it. She was like, this tastes like we're at a bourbon tour, she said. It tastes like we're in a rick house. She said it's got this barrel and tobacco note in it, but I'm also still getting my old fashioned because she's not wanting to crush some bourbon or anything. She wants the old fashioned, the sweeter part of it. But she said there is oak and tobacco in this that she doesn't normally get out of old fashions.
Now, tell me this wouldn't be great if we added a little bit of smoke to it, though.
Oh, my God. I would love it.
I think that's when we would get into the territory of, like, I mean, not even maybe the best, but the best, like, elevated cocktail, the best elevated old-fashioned that we could have had. But I love everything about this. It's kind of hard to rank something like this on our normal scale of nose, palate, finish, and price, despite the fact that you can go through all of it. It's just you don't normally do that with a bourbon cocktail.
Yeah. It does have a finish on it, though.
Oh, it absolutely has a finish on it. Even just from a, like, if we had to add a fifth category, uniqueness.
Yeah.
I mean, it that's what we're doing. We're going, how do we evaluate this? Because it's something we've never evaluated before. And because of its difference to everything else.
18 out of 20 on a cocktail scale.
Yeah.
That's what I'm giving it.
But, like, the price, if anything is elevating it, it's like that makes it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Just on sheer value, how much you can actually get out of the one bottle.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% a 5. And it's just tasty. Like, it just tastes really freaking good.
This, after we've already had some pregame stuff and we've had a little bit in the beginning, going to this after we've had a few pours of whiskey is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great ender, too.
Yeah.
Like, you could start with this, too, but based on tonight, like, that's a great way to finish. Oh there's so good.
I have to be honest. If I can get my hands on a bottle of this, like, actually buy one, or if I see one, I am picking one up.
Yeah, it's a buy all day.
Yeah, for sure. You said 18 out of 20.
On a cocktail scale, 18 out of 20.
I'm saying 19.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know quite what would push me into the perfect 20 out of 20 category, but look, if we have to invent a new, a new thing so that we can throw this on our list at the end of the year, best cocktail that we've had, best pre-made cocktail. I mean, this is easily number one.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best one I've had that we've tried. Oh my gosh. Remember when we had those cubes?
Oh my gosh. I forgot about those.
Oh God. Oh, demolishes the cubes. I mean, they're not even on the same level.
No, those two things are not even close to being on the same playing field. And, like, I want to do a video or a live stream or something where I compare different levels of old fashions. Like, do the carry-on cocktail kit, do that sugar cube, do everything kind of made at home and muddled together, and then have this be like the fancy, expensive version of it. And just blind myself with it, because, I'd just be curious to find out what I know what this one tastes like.
Yeah. I don't know. There's that oak.
I know what this one tastes like.
I mean, you can tell that that's special. Like,
even
for a cocktail, like, you can tell, especially if you're somebody like that's probably listening to this who appreciate bourbon and rye and whiskey and stuff. You're going to be able to tell that this is something special, because you're going to be able to taste the age and how much they put into this by using quality, like higher aged bourbons and stuff like that.
Yep. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
You got this much left.
Other than if you see one, grab one.
But that should be your answer right there.
You see one, grab one. Look at the picture. Look at the video. Ugh. I don't have any high proof hot takes this week. Do you?
Honda needs to chill and make their cars easier to work on these days.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because my knuckles and my hands are hurting really bad, and I was only changing the battery in my wife's car. It should not be that hard to change a battery.
I thought you said you were changing the oil too.
I did. That's fine. It was the battery that hurt my hands the most.
Yeah.
Because I had to take about 5 things off just to get to the battery.
It's ridiculous.
It was pissing me off. Pissing me the hell off, Honda.
So big Honda, if you're listening, make your cars easier to work on.
I had a 91 Acura Integra that I could do everything to, and now I got a modern day Honda. Fucking can't even put the gas in it without something crazy having to happen. You jerks.
Yeah, you filthy, no good,
you
baddies.
Dirty old Hondas. Also, you've made a pretty good car. We've not really had any issues with it. So.
Every Honda that I've had, every Honda that has been in my family,
freaking drove it to the ground, man.
Pretty much, but also within like the first 100,000 miles, the compressor has gone out on every single one of them. I don't know what it is, but and this has been across many years of Hondas from 2005 up until the mid-teens, mid-2010s. Every single one of them have had the compressor go out. No idea why. Maybe it's just Honda creating parts that are, going to expire at some point. What is the term
Ritter,
for that?
It's the Ritter curse.
Maybe it is the Ritter curse. What's the term for that though? Like Apple does that with their iPhones. It's that like they're supposed to expire after a certain amount of time.
I don't know. I don't know good words.
Oh, it's called planned obsolescence.
Oh fuck! I never even heard of
or
that.
Intentional obsolescence or something like that. Like it is supposed to at some point stop working because that's how it was built. That it wasn't supposed to last forever, so that you have to move on to the next iteration of it, or get it repaired or whatever. Yeah, but I think it's planned obsolescence. I think that's what it is. But
somebody will correct you if it's not.
I'm sure they will. What about tips and bits? Do we want to start off?
Tips and bits.
By a song, apparently. Do we want to start off with the thing that we did homework for?
Yes. This is my Bourbon podcast. Watched a little film called Terrifier. Perry, what did you think of Terrifier?
I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
The acting is not like out of this world amazing. I did have a little bit of an issue with some of the pacing and the plot threads throughout it, but
Was there even a plot?
I mean, essentially, yes. That, you know, these people get caught in the trap of this killer, and others wind up being, you know, roped into the web of it all.
Listen, don't take selfies with a killer, okay? If you see a killer clown in a pizzeria, don't take selfies with him. He's going to get pissed. He's going to saw you in half from your vajayjay down to your face. That's a tips and bits.
Yeah, this movie's not for everybody.
No. It's very, yeah.
So when you assigned me this homework, was it because you knew that people were reacting to the second one the way that they are? Because if anybody doesn't know, the sequel is out right now, and there are reports of people like fainting and throwing up and having like nervous breakdowns in theaters watching the sequel to this movie.
When I suggested it, it had just came out, the second one, so there wasn't even a lot of talk of people fainting and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was primarily me had just recently watched it because I knew the second one was coming out.
Oh,
and
okay.
I knew in my heart, in my horror heart, that Perry had not watched something probably close to this. With some of the kills, I'm like, I don't think he's watched something like this. Like more of a independent style, gritty, just scary. Like, I mean, at times it's just, you're just worried what he's going to do next. Like the anticipation of how is he going to kill this person? You're like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean?
But I don't find it to be completely indifferent from a traditional slasher movie.
Right.
But the only thing that is different is that this is ramped up in terms of gore and blood.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
and when I looked it up last week, the word that was used was splatter horror. And I mean that is exactly what this is. There is a lot of blood that splatters and flies out throughout the movie. But I don't know. I don't feel like this is a horror movie that people need to take as being so different from Friday the 13th or Texas Chainsaw or even Halloween. Like they all kind of fall under that same umbrella. But I mean, if I guess a better metaphor would be that they meet in the middle of the Venn diagram, but they just are slightly different versions of each other.
So how do you feel about clowns? Do you think clowns are scary? Because this, for the listeners or the watchers, this is Art the Clown, and he's our killer. And he is a talented man. He's talented.
Oh, he's great at what he does.
He's talented. I mean, he can sew. He can make wigs.
He can become a woman.
He works out. He's got very strong legs. He can smash people's heads with his feet. Mm-hmm. He can even use a gun. This motherfucker rolls up here, sawing people in half, and then he pulls out a gun.
Now, okay. That is my one complaint with him, that he has all these tricks and he is maniacal, and then all of a sudden he just pulls out a gun. Like he never.
But he's got a bag of knives and stuff and weapons. Of course, he's going to have a gun. He's going to show off his skills.
I don't know if it's
and he can drive a truck.
I don't know.
And he can pretend to be a baby.
I feel like the gun was a bit of a cop out.
You think so?
Because he was so brutal up until that point, and then all of a sudden, he's just got a gun.
He's a clown, though. I think that's the one weapon most clowns would have, a gun.
Maybe.
Puts holes all in that lady.
He really, really does.
Did you see it coming that our brave girl in the beginning would not be the brave girl in the end?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, and I think that was my biggest issue with the plot and the pacing of it all. That, sorry, spoilers for this movie, I guess, but it was the main brave girl's sister winds up being the disfigured person
in the beginning.
In the beginning of the movie. It was strange. I didn't. It's not that it like I didn't like it. It just didn't feel as earned. You know what I mean? As it could have been if
I love how serious this got. I love how serious we're getting into this.
This is how I watch movies anymore.
I love it. The fact that you watched a lady get sawed in half, hanging upside down,
and that's not my biggest issue with the movie.
It's my. I love it so much. I love that we're having this conversation. Yeah. And he pooped all over in the bathroom in the beginning, in the pizzeria. And
I totally forgot about that.
The guy had to clean it up.
Oh man, I forgot about that. Which just goes to show that this movie is insane and all over the place.
That pooping all over the place was the least crazy thing that he done.
Golly. I think this is what I was saying during the pregame chats too, or maybe it was Porch on the Floor. I don't know. But that I kind of have developed this idea around me that because I didn't really grow up watching horror movies, I have a very skewed view of what they are. But I mean, maybe in some ways I do, but not so much in like I'm cringing because I'm so scared or like it's going to keep me up at night. Like I slept like a baby after I watched Terrifier. Like, and it should have been a pretty disturbing movie, but I don't watch horror movies anymore for the purpose of being scared. Not that I ever did. But I watch them now because I find them immensely entertaining, and I have so much fun in entering into that escapism. Yeah, I would say, because I don't see myself in any of the people in horror movies, and like I can kind of transpose myself into, sci-fi or fantasy or, rom-coms or whatever. And like, that's just something that I've kind of trained myself to do because that's what I've grown up watching and what I know the best. But I don't find any characters within, and maybe I just haven't seen the right one that has, twisted my brain in the wrong way. But I haven't found anybody that I've been like, yeah, I relate to that character yet, because they're all so stupid. They're all so dumb. They're just dumb people. Like, they don't make good decisions. They are, I don't know. I just don't, I don't have much of a connection to them as characters. But I also
haven't
maybe
been chased by a psycho clown yet to know what they're going through.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah. But I mean, like, I had a lot of fun with it, and I really want to see the second one.
Oh my God. It's 2.5 hours long.
I know.
This one was like an hour 20. And it's like $1 bajillion more in budget, and it's about 10 years older almost. Yeah. So I bet it's amazing.
So after I got done watching Terrifier, I felt the need or desire to watch more horror movies, and I figured I may as well watch ones that I hadn't seen.
Most out of control
before.
Thing ever.
Well, so I was in Gatlinburg, as I said before, on Friday night, and Lucy's cousin selected 2 movies for us to watch. The first one was The Velocipaster, which I thought was so funny and just very much in line with my sense of humor, where it's just kind of like it honors and loves a particular thing, but it's not afraid to make fun of it at the same time. You know, and that's very much what the Velocipaster does. But then we also watched Llamageddon after that.
Oh my God.
Have you seen that one?
No, I've seen Velocipaster. I've not seen Llamageddon.
Llamageddon is free on Amazon Prime. It is basically one camera shot movie. It is as low budget as it can get. And it's about an alien llama that comes down and starts terrorizing this group of teens, and it's it's really bad, but it is so much fun to watch. But then I got home,
Oh Lord,
and I was trying to chase that high, like that.
and I feel like I feel like I've corrupted you to a point to where I need to reel you back in after what you told me you watched.
Well, but it's not that I need guidance, because I know where I need to go now.
I think
like
you're going down a crazy hole.
No,
Barry.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go back down this hole. Throw me the rope. Build a stairs. Build.
What have I created?
Hook into my shoulder and pull me right up. I don't care. And I really don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I watched The Greasy Strangler, which is hands
I'm going
down.
I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to give you 1 minute to pitch The Greasy Strangler.
Okay.
You don't have to pitch it to me. You got to pitch it to.
Oh no, I know. Just let me know.
1 minute now.
So it's a movie about a father and son duo who have their own walking disco tour in, I think it's Philadelphia. I also think I'm wrong about that. But they're not really functional with each other. And all of a sudden, there's a woman who comes into the mix, and Janet becomes a sense of, or a source of tension between the two main characters. We've got Big Ronnie and Big Braden, father and son respectively, and we see a lot of very absurd humor along with some very grotesque nudity and a lot of male genitalia.
10 seconds.
It's a very strange movie that if you like Tim and Eric, and I think you should leave, might even make you cringe a little bit, but it does remind me of Napoleon Dynamite.
Perfect. What are the chips made out of?
It's so gross. What? Oh, there. Oh my gosh.
I'll give you an extra 15 seconds.
And this isn't even like trying to sell people on it. It's just like there's this scene where the first group of tourists are all staying at the same motel, and there's one guy who puts $1 into the vending machine for a bag of potato chips, and it doesn't come out, and they start going back and forth on what the potato chips are made out of. And it just, I don't even, it's not even that funny, but it killed me. It was so, it just, with how absurd everything around it was, that somehow felt like the most mainstream comedy thing that went on in that movie.
A lot of eyeball eating.
Yes. I also just, I spent a lot of the movie like just cringing, just like kind of huddled in and of myself, because it's just like, it's gross.
Yeah.
It's a lot of grossness and just unclean nastiness, and I don't, but it's like I didn't hate it, but I also really didn't like it.
You have no desire to watch it again.
No, I will never ever watch that movie again.
You're like me, you can see everything in your head right now. I'm just thinking of it.
Oh, I can see literally every
fucking Janet.
No. Anyway, don't watch the Greasy. I do want to see a sticker though, from our friends over at the podcast and BS and Bourbon. Broken Thieves called the Greasy Strangler.
Oh my God. We could do that.
Right, though?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be hysterical?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to go back to Terrifier for a second. Check in with Mikey Whiskey Morgue.
yes! What did Whiskey Morgue have to say about Terrifier?
Whiskey Morgue says, a nod to the 80s slasher genre. Oh, Perry. And puts Art up there with the best of killers. Art is completely unpredictable. Although the kills are amazing, it's the tension building up to them that are the most creepy. Noted the iconic pizzeria scene when he pretends to be a baby, toying with the Vicky, who is hiding in the closet wearing cat lady's scalp and breasts. Yes, he cuts a person's breasts off and he wears them around. Damien Leone, I think is how you say it. He's the director and writer. Started as an FX specialist, and it's clear with the details in his kills. Whether you appreciate gore or not, he pulls off some of the most epic scenes in FX. The ending morgue scene is cool because it suggests there's something supernatural about Art. I'm sure they explore this more in part 2. There's almost no plot, which oddly works because everything else was executed so well. And he paired...
Mike, you and I have very similar opinions of this movie then.
And he paired this with a Penelope Canadian select.
Interesting.
So it's the perfect accompanying pour because they are all also a success story about talented people putting everything they have into something they believe to make it happen. So
nice. I also wanted to give
Morgue minute.
Thanks, Morgue, for your minute.
Whiskey Morgue.
I also wanted to give a shout out to our new friend, Ratchet Ramak. I don't know. Who sent me a message on Wednesday after we made our joint post about the new episode. She had no idea, but she thought that my Funko Pop was Whiskey Morgue and that yours was me. She didn't quite understand the connectivity between us all.
Well, we're all one big happy family over here on Tim Bip.
We are, but
we share Funko Pops.
It made me laugh, and I had to shout her out and appreciate that for a second.
That's amazing.
Sarah is her name. But her boyfriend is friends with Mike through social media and everything.
Nice.
So I also so we can kind of bring it back around to whiskey as well. I poured some of this red panty.
Oh,
from
the ADHD?
ADHD.
Look at this picture.
104.1 proof. That's just...
I didn't know he had abs like that, man. He really has been working out.
Dude, he's killing it. He looks great, too, by the way.
Look at that.
Yeah.
He got an Ascot award on this.
Did he really?
I don't know. It says
God bless. I can't see it. You're gonna have to put it in front of your face, I think. You're killing it, bud.
I suck right now. There. I think it's an Ascot award for Starlight. Craft Distillery of the Year. But somehow Fred got his little award onto ADHD's bottle.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good.
I got to pair that one with something. I thought about candied bacon from OBC.
Mm-mm. No, you know what you should do?
Okay.
What you should... No, sorry. I'm on it. Well, it wasn't... I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to be that aggressive.
I'm just giving you shit.
I was thinking, actually, they're fried oysters.
See, I don't like oysters. You can have that one.
I'll do a takeover. You know what we should do is one day we do a like takeover for each other's Instagrams where we post not as if we were the other person, but we post
I know
something
what you're saying. Yeah.
and like we do stories and everything on each other's pages.
You'll probably lose a few followers if I take over the 10-bit Instagram. Yeah. They'll be like, oh my God, this guy's ruining whiskey too.
Why is he wearing that hat?
Oh, what? He's got sunglasses on. He's wearing a crazy hat.
Where'd that hat come from?
To go. Is this Nightmare
Why is he
on
telling
Elm
me
Street?
I need to? So what's our before we get to wrapping up? What's our homework for next week?
Oh,
he didn't come prepared.
Well, I thought we were going to do Strangers too.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it. If you don't want to do that, I got another one.
No, let's do. Should we do just 2 or 1 and 2?
We can do 1 and 2.
Let's do 1 and 2 next week.
All right, Strangers.
Yeah. I had talked about having Emma as a part of that, but I don't know.
Maybe
if
you can get her
happen.
to write some notes down, just like we'll add them with Mike's notes. Just a little quick rundown of like her experience with it.
Yeah, I know she's very tired of talking about that movie though, because that's like her claim to fame. And like when I brought up doing a commentary of it,
she was like,
she's kind of like. Like she didn't think that it would be as much fun as we did. So,
well, maybe we just talk about it and we tell her what we think, Emma.
I think it'd be fun if you and I recorded a commentary for it at some point too.
Heck yeah. What if I showed up to Eden's birthday party wearing that mask?
Dude.
I was dressed like her.
I would lose my mind. That would be the funniest thing in the world. Oh my gosh. I love that idea so much. Anyway, so yeah, next week, if you want to watch the Strangers 1 and 2, the second one's called Pray at Night, which if you're a long-term listener of the show, I very, very heavily promoted Strangers 2 back within the first 6 to 8 months of the podcast because I just wanted people to go see Emma's movie.
Yeah, it's Perry's sister-in-law. If nobody caught on.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I didn't say that.
She's in that movie,
but she's one of the killers.
Yeah,
and she's really, really good.
She's good
in it. Yeah, but I think that does it for this week. But we haven't even talked about. Dang it, we haven't even talked about the She-Hulk finale or Werewolf by Night. But
I feel like when we come back after spooky season, we
just a very tiny little spooky.
We gotta break down everything that's happened. Like I've got new anime that's come out. I've listened to some podcasts. I got it
yeah.
But I feel like we got to keep the horror theme going.
But Werewolf by Night falls into that category.
True. I mean, yeah, we didn't get to talk about that.
Maybe we should, and I need to, keep getting caught up on the classics, I guess. But I'll do either won't talk about it or I'll do a very quick real good, not good, whatever, next week. Yeah. But maybe we can take some time next week to talk about Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Which
have you watched any?
I loved.
I liked it too. I have some thoughts on it. I don't think. Yeah,
no, I do too. But I had a really, really good time with it.
Have you watched all the new Halloween movies? Have you watched any of the new Halloween movies?
I have not. Okay. I've not seen any of them. But that is that's the homework I'm giving myself over the next couple. I was
going to say the last show we could talk about. The new Halloween,
for sure,
because the new one just came out. If we have time to watch them all, or you do, I still have to watch the last one. It just came out. It's on streaming. They went straight to streaming, but it's also in theaters.
I've heard it's not great.
Yeah, well, probably not. If it's anything like the last one, so.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap this up. Do you want to take us home?
You know it.
Okay, well, just do it then.
Damn, okay. So serious. Horror Perry is serious. Golly.
I turned into a movie reviewer when I started talking about things like just call me Siskel or Ebert.
That bag had so many weapons in it, but the choice of a revolver, and I mean,
I really just wish he hadn't used a gun. That was my.
I think that makes him crazier.
I get it. No, I get it. I know that it looks like he is just turning at that point, because he definitely is. Like, he started to feel more, and I hate for this to be the reference, but more like Dark Knight Joker at that point, where he was starting to like lose control. And so he was just...
After that, he did wear somebody's hair and cut their boobs off.
It's true.
So, if you want to wear somebody's hair, go over to patreon.com.
No, that's a horrible...
What? That's not how you do it. That's a good segue. Go to patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast for as little as $1 a month.
We don't sell hair.
I mean, we could. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And at $5 a month, you get all the uncut stuff. The uncut episodes, the bonus episodes, the fun stuff that the normal listeners don't get. Sorry, normal listeners, you don't get it. But you can support the show. Help us keep the lights on. Help us keep getting more new stuff for you guys. If you want to send us an email, you can send an email to thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. You can send us a suggestion to review. If you want to send us something, we'll tell you where to send it to. If you want to get some merch, it's bourbonshop.threadless.com or whiskeymutant.shopify.com. If you want to leave a message for the Barrel Ring segment, 859-428-8253.
We have a very special Barrel Rings coming up next week, by the way.
I remember, yeah. But that's where you leave us a voicemail. We play it on the air, and then we reply back to you. And you can listen to yourself. If you like to hear yourself and you're that vain, go ahead. Send us a voicemail. We'll play it for you. If you want to go follow us on all social media, it's at MyBourbonPod. You can follow Perry at PRitter1792, and you can follow me at Whiskey Mutant. Go over to YouTube, This is My Bourbon Podcast. You can watch the video version of this, and then Perry goes live every Thursday night at 8. And then leave us a review, 5 stars, 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. We don't care. We'll read them. And then just tell your friends about us. Tell your grandma about us. Tell your ex-boyfriend about us. Tell your ex-girlfriend about us. As long as they're listening, we don't care. You don't have to listen together. Just because you and your ex-girlfriend are listening to the same podcast doesn't mean you listen to it at the same time. Helps us out. So just man up. Do it. Woman up. Do it.
Just and you can head to the Patreon page for This Is More Bourbon Podcast, where this week we are rating and ranking and ragging on our friends' Instagram pages.
Oh. Hell yeah.
That's not a real thing, but do you want to do that?
Always?
Sometimes.
Is that even a question? Is that even a question?
Okay. I think that does it for this week, though.
Does it? Art's Clown's behind you. Got him.
Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening or however you enjoy the podcast. We'll see you next week. 5-year episode or 5-year anniversary special. That's what I meant to say.
5-year Annie.
Can't believe it. Love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being a part of this community, for sharing it with your friends, reviewing, doing all those good things. And I guess that just does it. See y'all next week. Until then, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.